my brother here, my Hero Brother project, Enosh Cassel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for a beautiful film. You were the producer of the film too, important to mention. And so tell me how you started this project. How did you bring the film into this project?
So first of all, I have a younger brother. His name is Hanan. He just became 30 a week ago. And in our childhood, we were very close. We did a lot of activities. He's a very important part of my childhood. But when we grew up, I had my own family and, and busy life and daily work. And Hanan lives in a community near Jerusalem. And I felt like kind of we left him behind. I didn't spend enough time with him. And I wanted to spend high quality time with him, good quality time with him. So I took him before this trip to another trip to Nepal, just the two of us, 3 weeks, backpack, and we just trekked. And it was difficult, but it was a very good experience for both of us, although we had a lot of difficulties during the first trip. And I felt like it was a good thing to do, an inspiring thing, I mean. And then additional brothers and sisters from all over the country, they contacted me and they said, we also have a special sibling, and we also didn't pay enough attention. We didn't have enough time to spend time with him. And this is how we created a whole group with siblings that they want to share a very unique experience together and do a special trip together. And this is how this all began. And the movie was about the second trip, it was in 2013. This is what you saw.
And why make a movie? Why did you bring the film crew along? It's not hard enough to do it without a film crew.
Right. First of all, it started as a project, not as a movie. And also the second trip started as a project. But of course, as a filmmaker, I wanted it to be a movie because I think that the most important thing is like the group was created by siblings with motivation to share the experience with their brother, this experience. And I was sure that additional siblings will see this movie and want to do the same thing. It doesn't have to be a trip to Nepal or to India. It can be something more simple, like even take him to the beach, to a restaurant, anything. And this is what happened. People see the movie, and almost every time I screen it in Israel or even here, people come and they say, I also have a special brother or sister, and I saw the movie and I want to do something different than I did. Usually, I see him once in a while. I do like ordinary things like arrangements, sometimes take him to the doctor or take him different arrangements. But now I saw the movie and I want to do something different and something more significantly experienced. So that's the main, I think, the most important thing of this movie.
And is the project now continuing, or are you organizing trips? Have you turned this into a successful model for tourism, for trips for siblings? Tell us more about the project.
Yeah, so first of all, we have the group. That's the most important part. We have a very close group. Since then, first of all, between the two trips, we had 2 years of preparations, all kinds of trips in Israel and trekking and different kind of mentally and physically preparation. After the trip, we became very, very close, and we still meet once in 2 or 3 months. We do all kinds of activities. And for Hanan, personally, I can say that it's very, very important. He keeps on asking, when is the next meeting? When is the next meeting? I want to see the group. I think the closest people to him is the group and not the place he lives. So yes, that's the most important part. The group continues to meet, and I hope it will be, for good part of his life, Hanan's life, and that's the most important. But beside that, additional sibling who watched the movie and wants to become part of the community, so we are working on like a platform, a website, and a platform that you can share the story as well.
And are there any updates on some of the folks from the film? Any changes, dramatic changes since the film has been made, since the reactions of the film, since they've all become superstars? Are they anything to add beyond what we've seen?
I can say that Aryeh, for example, Aryeh, the brother of Osnat, we gave them flowers in the Jerusalem Film Festival. So he just walked with for the whole week in the street and told people, you know, this is a flower because I went to India and I did this trek. So for them, it's a really important part of their life now, that they did it and they went to India with their brother or sister. That's very important for them. And for us, of course, for all of us. But it became something they're really proud of. And yeah, they feel kind of stars and it's good.
Great. I'd love to open it to some questions from the audience and any comments or thoughts. Anybody need tips on how to organize one of these? You could talk about that privately later.
What happened with the budding relationship?
With Amar and Tzlil, you mean?
Yes.
They're together when we meet in activities. Not more than that, but each time we meet, they're very close.
I just want to start off saying the movie was amazing. I have a son who's Down syndrome, and I want to know if I could donate money to the cause.
How does one donate money to the cause?
What we want to do is we want to create an organization, and for that we might need money in the future. We can talk afterwards, but right now we don't really need the moment. But when we want to make it, as I said, like a platform for additional siblings, and for that we may need in the future. But we can talk about it later. Thank you.
Very, very touching film. Can you tell us more about the young married couple and how did that come about and how are they living together? I happen to have a friend whose son is Down syndrome and also got married, but I'm curious how they do that in Israel.
So Sagi and Nitzan, they live in a kibbutz called Hefziba. It's a community, but they're totally independent. I mean, they live in their own house. Sagi, maybe it's difficult to understand because he speaks Hebrew, but he can be easily a spokesman of any government office in Israel. I'm serious. His Hebrew is amazing. He speaks really good Hebrew, and they're really a married couple. They do everything together. They function, they're totally independent, and they were interviewed by many media press in Israel and also different movies, and then they joined the project, and they don't have siblings who can join the project. But they have cousins. So each one of them brought his cousin, and even though it's not sibling, we said, okay, we'll bring them, and we're happy for that.
Hi, really enjoyed the movie.
Thank you.
I think the part that was hardest for me to watch, there were a few scenes like that where the doctor mostly says, we shouldn't do it to them. And they didn't really choose to do it. It was kind of forced upon them. And yet you continued. Did you consider at any point giving up?
And the first day was the most difficult, as you saw in the movie. I thought that it's too much, personally. I thought that we went too far and it's too much, and it doesn't have to be so difficult. We did want to have some difficulties, because then when the siblings go through difficulties together, it's good for the bonding. But we didn't want to do it such a difficult trek. And if some of them would really want to go back, we'd go back. I mean, we wouldn't force them to go all the way up. But at the end, they're happy about the trek. They're happy about the experience they had. They don't remember the pain and the muscles. And I think all of us, we don't think about the pain. We think about the experience. and I think that they're the same. If you ask them now, they don't remember that it was too difficult. But on the way up, I thought that it maybe went too far. And you're right. I mean, we chose it for them, but we choose mostly everything for them. We choose where they live, and we choose. I can talk about Hanan. He lives in a community not far from Jerusalem. And it's a very good place, but he's not always happy to go back there. He's not always happy to live there. But that's what we chose for him. And it's like in the movie and like in the project, is like the way life is with a Down syndrome family member.
Hi, I really enjoyed the movie. I'm a student as old as I am, and I've worked with sometimes children with disabilities and things. And I was wondering, are you planning on expanding this project, like in the States?
First of all, this group is very close, and a lot of people in Israel first, they want to join the group, and from one side we want them, but the group is we went through so much together, so it's difficult to add more people to the group. So I really hope that we'll be able to create more groups, maybe even here. We don't have right now an additional plans, but I hope it will happen. I mean, I'm trying to make it happen, but it's a lot of work. Even this group is a lot of effort for all of us, not just to me, for the whole group of all brothers and sisters. I hope, and one day.
A very touching and inspiring movie. I was wondering how many of the siblings actually live in a community versus at home?
Okay, so Amar and Irena, Amar lives at home, and Irena really takes care of him all the time. She brings him to work, she brings him back, she goes to work during the day, then she really takes care of him all the time. The rest, except Reut, she just moved to institute. No, she just moved home actually. The rest live in an institute, all kinds of communities. So two live at home. The rest lives in different communities all over the country. Some in the kibbutz, some in the cities, but they all live in kinds.
Was that challenging, the fact that they're not used to living together? It's not just the hike and not.
Of course, I think that the main point is that, like me, most of the siblings here, they hardly see each other. Or not enough. They see each other, let's say, once a month, when they come home, and both of them have to come home. And even when they come home, they don't have enough time together because everything is busy and etc. And so that's the main story. The story is like being together and go through significant experience together. It doesn't happen enough for all of that, for all of us, for all of the group.
I'm sure you get it all the time that people who don't have siblings with Down syndrome think that they should do this with their sibling to bond and further connect. Yeah,
I'm sure.
How does it work in Israel? Are all the communities similar, or who takes care? What's a typical program or day like for the vast majority, and who supports them financially?
They're very different. Like in this group, 2 are religious, and 8 are not religious. So some of them live in the kibbutz. Hanan lives in a religious place. Ariel lives also in each one is a totally different story. The government supports most of the places. Still, you have to pay something, but the government support. And we can talk for hours about each one of the communities because it's the whole story, but it's really different.
We're going to take one last question over here.
Yeah, it was really, really inspiring. And I was struck by the patience of some of the siblings with some of the trying situations. I was wondering if you had any criteria, whether behavioral or physical, for somebody being able to go on the trip. And if you considered having, do you have any advisors besides the doctor, maybe to do screening or to start people at an appropriate level so that, you build up? You sort of alluded to that.
First of all, even in the group, the differences were really, really big. I mean, we had Slil, which was, even before we went to this trip in India, it was really difficult for the trips in Israel. And we thought, what's going to be in India? I mean, in Israel, the maximum we can get is like 500 meters, and here we climb much more than that. And Hanan, you give Hanan hiking sticks and the backpack, and he just run away, and he feel really good about it, and he's in great shape. So even in the group, the differences are huge. And from the other side, Hanan doesn't understand too much. I mean, verbally. And Sagi and Slil, they understand much more than him. So talking about Down syndrome is general, and each one of them is totally different. Not totally, but different. So we had to go through a lot of preparations, and we didn't know that if anyone can do it, everyone in the group. But I think that it's good that everybody went to the final trip in India. So we weren't sure that this is going to happen. And for the future, I mean, it's difficult to say because each one of them really take it in a different way. For Hanan, it's really easy for him to go trekking, but for the other, you have to prepare them a lot and take care of them before they do it. So that was the big deal about this group, to make everything happen.
We're going to take one more over here. Sorry. We got one over here.
So, I'm born about, maybe born about mom or Lizzie or dad that might maybe a hard time. I weren't gonna do what of us years. Me, I'm born about hunting. Years, my friends born about Zach, born always no, but a lot of time, hard time, but always social. My maybe my mom, I love her very much, but I don't care if mom won't upset, crying, but Lizzie, always my sister. Great daughter, that's his daughter, Lizzie, this daughter, 24. So it was me, but this years we have, but sorry, about 1999, about Papa years born about guns, nearing guns, lost what going on out there, what I'm doing, actually. So, that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so touching. It was great.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for your comments and being a part.
Thank you very much.
I'm just going to note specifically if Down syndrome is a topic that you're interested in, we have a fabulous film here on Tuesday night at 6 p.m., My Feral Heart. Be sure to check that one out. I also want to thank our partners once again, IAC, Israel America Council.